Hello, this is Gerald Johan van Waas. Before I made the video about shining, I also made a preparation for the word shake. The word shake that is shown as the sounds coming to life in its formation process. It shows its formation process in the method that is described in these books. And it was a bit shaky how I made it, so I worked a little bit longer on it, and I have the results that also shows you where shake is really shaking or where things are getting shaky. Shake, if we present it as a formation process, every letter in my system of order, which has a numerical order but also a formation order, which shows certain features to be dominant and can be combined with each other. It asks some preparation and some experience also a little bit before you can blend and combine these features well, because they are not an exact puzzle, but they are an exact puzzle as a direction. But of course, all these directions are somewhat complex as well, so it asks also some preparation also there. That's why I also show you a lot of videos that show you how you can do that. The S is this kind of fluctuations which are in at the edge of your frame of visualization. The H is also about a frame, which in between that frame there is an active going from one point to a next point interaction, which can be vivid within that area. This is about the conclusion, which comes after the theory. The A is this area that you focus upon, which is center focus, but which also has a certain range of where it is. It tries to measure the object, the full object, or everything which is needed to use the object or the A as a subject to reason with it. K breaks the things apart, or tends to break the things apart, so it is a bit more difficult to keep your focus then together. And mostly also at the end of a lot of English words, are actually saying that this is also involved in a process, or there's a process going on in the background. These are the letters that I said you should learn to combine them, which I said is not always easy. Needs some practice, some tryouts. It will not work from the first time, but it also asks that you know what's going on in the background of each letter and then combine these features. I will give an example with this example. So I first will repeat what I said, what these letters were. So you had here the fluctuations from the far edges, which will be an influence on the rest. You have here a frame that with all the sorts of interactions that are bundled and will show off its result. You have a center position in which an object will be defined and noticed. I have a breaking point, which makes it difficult to maintain a common progress. And a short I always, when it involves with some moves or changes that somewhere as a kind of after effect or background effect that you have there, that it is also involved in time, as I said. So blending them so much that they form just one form and one word, that's the ideal thing. Will not be easy, but we will try to give you some ideas how so. For instance, let's try to combine H and A. H is the frame. A is actually also trying to find a ground to work with. So if I would combine a frame and use it as a ground to work with and centralize it, I almost have it, except that the H also says, okay, it has some variations from beginning to an end. Somewhere in between there will be some variation that it lives there. But Ha is actually then quite easy to combine. Here they blend already, and it expresses that what you can use. So this Ha is usable. S is also related with the frame, so it should actually blend as well, the S with the H. So that means that this, I could blend in so much. Well, let's just make a tryout. Let's make a tryout that I will use my frame and follow at the same time these fluctuations. That means that my frame of focus, which basically is in both areas, but that his frame of focus is influenced and will have fluctuations. How do I do that? So if I put them really tied together, I have here, my frame is moving here. So I have a moving frame, which also shows you some variations, that my focus is moving. When it's attached to one side, very quickly you will notice that I have that this can work if I make it more physical, that this can work, that I do a push, it goes sideways, and it will, and when the S turns, it will be a pull, so it will be pushed and pushed and pulled forward. That's what happens with this frame. That's what happens when I do this. And when I do this a couple of times, you will see, oh, it goes, it's very difficult to maintain a certain order, and in the end it will be a bit, it can become blurry. And my focus can become blurry, or even jump out. But is this shaking? Is this expressing the shaking? You know what shaking is, and you see it comes near, but is it all shaking, or am I exaggerating a little bit? Is this all already in the shaking or shaky movement? Because this part, for instance, it's not really representing shaking, it's being pulled down, and it rather performs a kind of slinging. It's not really shaking. It's not the same thing. It comes close, but it's not that. So that's not the essence. The shakiness, this frame, which I tried out, appears only there where we can't keep our eyes focused, where they can't remain steady in the same frame of evolution on this time frame where the things are evolving. Where is it? Where is that in this frame? Where does it begin to become shaky? Where does my frame itself become frame? Are these frames actually? No, they're just squares running from. So this square is not the real focus frame. The focus frame I will add now. Where are the focus frames? Where can I add focus frames on these movements? Here's one frame of attention. Here's another one. Here's my frame of attention. And here, within this frame, there it becomes shaky. Then I come closer to the word shaky. So what's shaky actually about? It is this kind of attention which I can't seem to keep my center of attention focused. It's also my focus can't get a right frame. My frame is indeed moving. It's not moving exactly on the S form, but it has an influence on this S. But it is about my frame, which doesn't keep my attention well, because all of its to and fro's and it becomes irregular. This is irregularity rather that is having an influence on my focus. And this influence of my focus is about the fluctuations in the focus. It was not about the fluctuations of this square, it's about the results in the fluctuation of my main focus. The only thing I can always try to do is to try to keep my focus and my attention stable. So while having in the background this shakiness, so despite the movement, all of this stability in the background, our attention itself do not continue to go along with all these sometimes more difficult to follow variations with every shaking. With our focus is not going along. It's stable. We keep it in the background so that we are simply aware that there is at sometimes even immeasurable movement, and we focus only on that common focus which contain all of these combinations in one complete frame of focus. So when this regular going to and fro was not really the shaking, what was it then? So what kind of word would fit to that, and why is it something else? What did I do? What did I do that I was focusing so much on these frames that it became an object of movement? Because if we express it this way, you see also what I do is with this S, I'm going to really use it as a pressure point. I press with it. I treated this kind of square as an object. It is not about the focus. I treat it as a square object. Instead of being about an effect in the background with from the going and coming from an effect in the background, I gave it so much influence. It even got a physical gravity. Extra features were added, as you said, the push with extra power into an almost physical condition. It's this push that causes the object that it became to move to and fro simply because of this push. So the push is this separate frame which shows you the slinging part. So you have the push and the pull. So there's one of the S's was with that. It's going physical, with this really having a physical influence. You have the push down and the pull up. That's what the squares make do this move. And what's very important, so that's when I combine S with H, even if you do that a little bit and you move it along, the A after that is the stabilizer. And the stabilizer is also combined with the focus frame. So our focus is not going with the shaking. You can do that, but then your head is shaking. The focus itself, if you want to see the focus, our focus needs to remain centralized. Here I show it to you how it's centralized with its stability horizontally, like the A is always in the background, having a stability on a horizontal plane, and this can be done very well with the A as well. And it also deals with, that's the last part of the word, K and A, that your focus in this area of Shay is tending to break apart. And we can use the A or A to centralize and stabilize horizontally our focus frame, that we know where it comes from. It comes from the S first, the first effect, the first influence, and it tends to break apart our that with that influence that it is indeed shaking, and we're losing it a little bit at the sides. With one vision, we know that it all comes from an effect as a first influence. How it is, the word starts with S, and it makes us realize how this is working in the background. S is far away, it is very far away in the background. That's also part of the theory. At the same time, irregularly, this S is going up and down. And that's the background thing. This up and down is just in the background. And we don't mind that the things are shaking up and down, going up and down, like with the S movement. Our focus itself remains focused, while the other movements in the background fluctuate. The best thing would be just simply ignore all the shakiness in the background and just focus on the main frame that also will be shaking a lot, shaking a bit. It doesn't matter. I will know what's going on. And the effect of it will be some kind of undeliberately shaking. As you can see, that's one of the ways that you can show the shaking up and down and up and down. But it can be used deliberately as well, that we like to have a shake. So it's not a negative thing. The handshake, for instance, is a very good example. And why is this, can this be a positive thing? It's because we have a steady focus. All of its fluctuations become acceptable when remaining with a stable focus. So a shake is also the kind of idea that despite that what we will have between two persons, it's the handshake. In the handshake, we make that agreement that we have a stable ground with two persons. The ah is continue. It has a stable ground. And despite that there will be movements, there will be changes, we agree that there's a common ground, and that's the ah or the a from the hand shake. You still have, so you have the shaking itself, a shake, shaking it. What kind of shakes do we have? The shakes itself doesn't matter in what direction they are. With shaking it, the it will follow the it. It will follow the directions of the it. And then we can shake in any kind of direction. Yeah! Shake it, shake it, shake it! Move it, move it, move it! Thanks again for watching. This was Gerald Tuavamas, books, website, subscription. Bye.